So our next panel talk is pretty epic, actually. This is actually with our friend Kerry from like this morning. We got five epic, amazing, intelligent ladies who are sharing their experience with like circularity in like denim. This is a pre-recorded talk. It's about 37 minutes long. It's honestly amazing. I've seen it already. These guys give so many great tips to brand. Just watch it. It's pretty awesome. Like, you know, there was a suggestion to edit it and we said, no, we're not going to edit it down. It's too good as it is. So we're playing the entire thing and you're going to enjoy it right now. Like Joanne, could you please play it and see you guys in about 30 odd minutes.
Thank you for joining the Circularity in Denim panel. I am Kerry Bannigan, founder of the Conscious Fashion Campaign, and I am joined today by Claire Ford, Director of Claire Ford Consultancy, Head of Design for Outland Denim, Amy Roberton, Denim Specialist Consultant and Creative Director of 70 Emoji, and Janelle Hanna, Director of White Web Design and Sourcing Consultancy, and Neha Selly, founder of Design Denim and Research House Bluehemia, and founder of Nessie Jean. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join today for the panel.
Welcome. Pleasure.
So I'd love to hear each of your perspectives on this, but I'm going to start with Neha and then come to the rest of you. What does circularity in the denim industry mean to you?
Circularity in denim industry means to me looking at the whole system of denim manufacturing and figuring out ways where a positive impact, where a positive shift could be made to an already existing process. Now, as we all know, denim manufacturing is a very, very long process, starting from the fiber stage to the dyeing process, to the weaving process, to the garment making, pattern making, and the washing, and finally putting it on the shelves. This whole process, if not done mindfully, I'm not saying that everybody, all brands and manufacturers do need to look at each process, but even if we take charge of some of these stages in the whole process, I think we are good to go. So circularity basically means when you're seeing a denim hanging in a showroom, you look through the layers of it. You see, where is the fiber coming from? Is it ethically cultivated? You see, where is it getting made? The material that has gone in making the jeans, the trims, the packaging, is it, is it biodegradable? Is it closing the loop for us? So that is the whole system of denim manufacturing, if looked at mindfully, is circularity in denim for me. So keeping it short and sweet.
Thank you. Amy?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with everything Neha said. I think it's also about collaboration. I think there is no more working in silos to move into a circular process. I think, it's also known as the sharing economy, and I think that's absolutely true. It's about being collaborative within your supply chain. It's about sharing information. It's about being transparent. It's about looking at how we can be more restorative, how we can reduce our impact at every single stage, and not only reduce it for the environment, but also for the people who are making our products.
Thank you so much for that. Janelle?
Yeah, everything that they both said. I've got a poster on my wall, actually. It's the manifesto of the Slow Factory. Everything we make returns to earth as food or poison. And I find that really helpful to think about when thinking about denim in a circular way, in the literal sense, considering the product and its material value, keeping that material in use for as long as possible, because even if the product is natural and biodegradable, there's a cost of all the inputs along the way, the energy, the water. And that's it, really.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Claire, is there anything to add to these three incredible answers on what circularity in the denim industry means to you?
I know, everyone put it so well, didn't they? I definitely agree that circularity is the aim to eliminate textile waste at every step of the design process, with hopefully a continual use of resources, so recycling as much as we can, and also keeping products in the system longer, so creating longevity and making sure that we're designing to make things to last. I think, using new technologies and Outland, eventually our goal as an industry should be to set targets past circularity to a point where the environment and humans are actually at a better place from the creation of our garments, so that closing the loop on the products, but also creating a positive loop system, I think is really important. It's an ambitious goal, but I think, you know, it's a worthy goal for the industry.
It's good for us to have ambitious goals. It's really good. And Claire, I actually want to continue on say congratulations on Outland Denim's first annual sustainability report that was recently released. Can you please share details about this and the importance to benchmark sustainable goals and results?
Sure, of course. So our sustainability report highlights is that we've gone 100% leather free. We have removed our leather back patches and moved on to Jacron back patches. We have 85% of formerly at-risk Cambodian staff at reduced exploitation risk. Our laundry is using 86% less water and 57% less energy and 83% less chemicals than a standard denim laundry. We're using cassavas, our biodegradable bags for transporting our goods. And then we have also just announced Maker. So we're expanding our impact by manufacturing for other brands. We're using blockchain technology or full scope vision and communication technology so that every Maker garment can actually be traceable from cotton farm to final product. And leading on from that, we're 94% direct supply chain traceability and transparency. So we're not perfect, and you know, we're definitely moving towards that. So from that, we've actually now successfully piloted and proven our direct network intelligence system. So that's now one of the most effective supply chain verification processes in the world. We're looking to pair up with other brands, also looking and sourcing through Turkey. So sustainability for myself and Outland Denim is definitely an evolving and ongoing process with long-term goals. So measuring and reporting on this progress is definitely a necessity to reach the goals in a way that businesses report on their economic results, for example, so we can actually see every year exactly where we are. Outland Denim sees sustainability as social, as environmental and economical. So it makes sense for us as a brand to benchmark, to measure and to report on these elements to ensure that we continuously are improving and growing our impact. So I think when a customer buys jeans from us at Outland Denim, they're almost taking us up on our promise to create impact on their behalf. So just like you would report as any other company to your shareholders, I think Outland Denim has, you know, it's an obligation to report to our customers the incredible impact that their purchase is also having on, you know, people's lives and the environment. Reporting on sustainability is vital to help other brands, other retailers and consumers so that they can understand how we can utilise better ways of working together as an industry.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And there you note that you're not perfect, but you know, I think as an industry, we want to amplify progress over perfection and keep moving forward. And it's incredible. So thank you for that insight. I wonder, is the sustainability report available for viewing? Is there access to this?
Yeah. If you just go onto the Outland Denim website, you can download it directly off of there.
Excellent, thank you so much. Now, Amy, 70 Mochi leads with a philosophy of being consciously kind denim, and I love that. How is the brand circular in thinking and design?
What's kind of quite unique about 70 Mochi, I mean, we've only launched, we're new to the market, but we have a really simple supply chain, which allows us to look at every aspect of the product as it goes from fiber all the way down to delivering it to our customer. So really what we took this as an opportunity to be able to work down every single process. So if I start with just the product, we look at the fibers that we use very carefully. We use BCI organic cottons, but our real hero fiber is recycled cotton. We have our own shredding plant where we bring garments that would otherwise be intended for landfill. We bring them and we shred them back into fiber. And every single one of our denim product, Indigo denim products, has a minimum of 20% recycled cotton. And that already just saves us huge amounts of water and energy by having that as a starting base. We then can look at our spinning and weaving. And there's actually quite a lot of waste that comes from the spinning and weaving. And we can take that waste, and we have set up part of our another part of what really excites us is that we are committed to helping the artisan community as well. So we have actually set up some hand looms, some original hand looms that we can basically take our waste from our spinning and weaving, and we can hand loom that into 100% pre-consumer recycled fabrics. And those we use for special projects, and we can take the waste out at every single stage. And I think last year we did 88,000 pounds of textile waste per month we can put back into our own production. We can also create our own certified C2C fabrics using our own mill waste. But then we can carry on down and we can look at the finishing and dyeing process, and we can really look at eliminating harmful chemical use, and also reducing our water waste. And we have a water treatment plant that helps us to do that. And then we go to the design of the garment, and there it's really, we have to understand that as designers, we make decisions that are really impactful. And we can actually, I think that I've read that there's 60 to 80% of a garment's impact is decided at design stage. So we look at, not only have we looked at the fiber coming through and the fabrics that we're using, but we look at every single component that goes into our jeans, and we choose the ones that are less impactful. And that's the less impactful that we have at the moment. This is an ongoing kind of, we're never ever at the end of this journey. We're always kind of questioning it and putting it forward. But for example, we weren't happy using just conventional wash care labels. We wanted to use wash care labels that used our waste that we were having off our cutting line from our pocketing. So we invested in machinery that we can take our pocketing waste, cut down into our wash care labels. And that took a bit of time to kind of figure out and work, but it was really important for us that we helped close that one little loop within our system. But it's about closing loops all the way down the line. We also use any single offcut that we have off our cutting line to make our patchwork pieces, special pieces, and whatever we can't use, we send back to the shredding plant to turn back into fiber. And so that's really like how we've looked at the product, but we're also looking at other initiatives where we've got our curated vintage section, where we save garments from our shredding plant that we think have, a lot of life to give, and we upcycle them, repair them as needed, and we sell those pieces on our website too. And we have also got a circle back initiative where we'll take jeans from people, give them a discount to use on our website, and we'll recycle those jeans as well. So it's really kind of three main things: is looking at the product, and then our vintage, which is super important, and then our take back scheme as well.
It's brilliant, and you cover so much, and in that it also makes it so much more inclusive and accessible depending what people's needs are. So I think that's brilliant, and congratulations. Janelle, I love your ethos that to be a great designer today, one has to take ownership of their part in preventing climate damage, as well as create within the parameters of caring for people and the environment. Can you tell us more about this?
Thank you, Kerry. Well, I'm a designer, not an artist, so there are always constraints, there are always briefs. That's part of being a designer. And the health and the welfare of the people and the environment now needs to make its way right to the top of that list, and it needs to be as unnegotiable as the margin. And as a commercial designer, which I think most of us here are, we become quite used to compromising on the cost or for the speed, for example. getting something to market, you know, we're quite used to hearing you can't have this trim because it affects the margin by 5%, or this fabric won't be ready in time for launch date. And, you know, it's just that now that we need these social and environmental parameters to be at the very top of the list, so that we simply just can't have, for example, a denim that has a cotton in it, which comes from an unknown source with no assurances about the welfare of the people or the land. So yeah, I think that in terms of parameters, that's what that means to me. But what it does mean is that it constantly, and we constantly now as designers have to educate ourselves as creators of stuff. It's our responsibility to understand the materials and the processes that we're working with. It's not somebody else's job, it's our job to know that. Maybe you have some support if you're in a big company from a team of sustainability gurus or something, but if you're going to make stuff, you need to know what it's made from, and what its impact is. And thankfully, it's becoming a lot easier. It used to be a full-time preoccupation, but you know, there's some really, really great tools to help with it now. And you know, not all the tools are perfect, as other people have mentioned. This is an evolving story, but you know, I use tools like the Higg Index, for example, ZDHC, the SDGs, and life cycle assessments. And it's time consuming, but you can find out you can find out what you need to know about the product that you're making. And if you can't, then you have to question. If if you've got a very complicated line, you need to question whether you should be making all these products if you kind of just don't know how they're made. And it requires compromises. So just like a margin, you know, something not coming into margin requires compromises. It requires designing to these new parameters requires compromises as well. You know, for example, we know that we need to decrease our reliance on virgin cotton and diversify the fibers that we use. So here's a fabric, for example, that's 50% recycled cotton and 50% Refibra Tencel. If you listened to Michael, I think from Lensing, he's giving a talk about Refibra Tencel, so you'll know what that is. You know, but this fabric is a little bit shiny, and it's not what we call authentic in denim, and we need to stop kind of accepting this as an obstacle, as a barrier to making change, particularly young designers who have an influence and who can influence aesthetic. We need to compromise a little bit on what we expect things to look at and make the new thing the desirable thing. And yeah, that's a really powerful influence that you have as a young designer.
That's a really interesting point, and thank you for that. Now, Neha, congratulations on your recent launch of the Nessie Jean, a brand made with 100% denim industry waste and zero new raw material. And just carrying on from Janelle's point there, how does design and sustainability go hand in hand?
Thank you, Kerry. As Amy also said, 80% of all product-related environment impacts are determined at the design stage of a product. So for me, or for any brand, design and sustainability are, you know, interdependent. In a way that I'll give you a small example of our own brand. So Nessie Jean, Nessie stands for necessary. It's a brand which uses 100% denim industry waste, as you said. Precisely, we're using waste from urban mills. The design process for us started when we got bags of waste scrap in our office. So, you know, starting from little fiber bag to little scrap cutting table waste, then 1 meters and 10 meters, you know, whatever waste this big mill makes. Our design started from that stage. Normally, you know, a lot of brands have the design, they first sketch out their, you know, garments, and then the raw material is made. So for us, also because we just started and we are a small arty brand right now, for us, it was very important that we did the reverse in a way that no new raw material is created, because for us, I think there is already an abundance of material lying around, which can be made into beautiful aesthetic products. So we create our garments, our whole high fashion apparel, and we participated with the same line in Helsinki Fashion Week recently too. Now the waste that is left from this cutting table, whatever waste we create, it's already used, it's already made from waste, but we also create some waste because, you know, it's trial and errors, and we are making couture and all that. So that waste we're using into making denim paper. Then there is some more waste which we are using into making, you know, non-woven denim felt fabrics. So there are a lot of innovations, and there are basically a lot of design processes that are happening to get it right in the sustainability route. So design hence plays a very important role at the product stage. But I also feel design is a very important for a brand stage. So for me, it is very important. I also had a chat with Annie from, you know, Simply Suzette, and she told me that customer doesn't give a damn. I mean, they can't care less. They don't want to know about sustainability. Of course, now the conscious change is happening because of COVID and all that, but they don't give a damn. So I think it's design's responsibility from a brand's perspective that we give the right storytelling, like the social media and whatever we are offering to the consumer. We put them in the center and we tell them, hey, the jeans that you're wearing, that jeans has so much water that you could use your whole life in that water. I mean, you can use that whole water in your whole life. You know, getting the customer in between, telling the right narrative, doing the right product. I think design is the most important part of getting your sustainability journey right for a brand.
Thank you so much. There's a lot to take in there, and it's so right. It's like you hear so much of it being on the consumers, but that's not the reality. It's the people in the design houses that have the power and the responsibility to only give consumers good choices. So thank you. Now, Amy and Claire, you both work with some of the most well-known brands in the world. Could you briefly tell us how you approach helping the industry move towards a circular economy? Amy?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, and I think it's quite a daunting prospect for some brands, some especially big brands that are quite established. You know, it's definitely it definitely can be quite daunting for them to think about moving more and working more circular. But I think Denim's in a really unique position that we can really be market leaders on this, because I think that we have so many frameworks that we can work with. Like brands I consult with now, we're transitioning or have already transitioned all of our components to be less impactful. That's a really simple move that we can make. And in some instances, I've even been able to save the buyer's margin by moving away from, say, leather back patches. We've moved to Jacron papers, which are certified. And that was an easy, you know, that was not only can I kind of let them kind of get excited by the impact, but also I've saved them margin, so that also gets them excited, right? But I think, you know, the pandemic has definitely helped to focus brands as well. They see that the customer is asking for this more, that the customer is more knowledgeable than ever before and is demanding that brands work in this way. I think, you know, even though for big brands, it does require like great leadership, and it does require strategy, and in some cases it will require some investment, but I think it can be done. And I think ASOS is a point in case where they've just released a whole collection that's designed with the circular economy in mind. But you know, we definitely work at every level. So I'm spending a lot of time working with our laundries, and we're now across almost every laundry I work with, I can work with them using Gina Logier's impact guide, so EIM scoring. So that really helps us to measure our impact. And if we're scoring medium, which we're now not accepting, we can work at that design stage to getting it to scoring low impact. And then we can present that product to the buyers, and you know, it's already done for them. So I think it's, I think also in my experience, I think Denim can lead this. And then I think, you know, other departments get excited by it, because, you know, it's especially the youth of today, they're excited that we can deliver products that are still fashionable, but have less impact.
Thank you so much. Claire?
I definitely think it's about education. I've been a consultant now for 2 years, and I've most probably learned the most in the last 2 years than I have been in the industry. It's about, I think, teaching yourself about as much as the process as possible. Like Neha and Amy have both said, we love this, is like 80% of the impact of each garment is actually comes from the design stage. So educating yourself on what raw materials that you need to start with, what new technologies you can use as you go through. And I think as a designer, you need to know the whole process. You need to know exactly from sourcing your raw materials through to the end product, and making sure each process is as sustainable, transparent and circular as possible. And then it's about teaching those companies that you work with why it's better, why they're going to be better off. You know, I've recently worked on that with Reese, where we have been working on using a lot more recycled products in their line, which they hadn't even thought about before, and in making our metalware all sustainable as well. So I think, you know, especially as a designer at this stage, it's vital in the overall sustainability footprint for each company.
Thank you so much. Neha, Nessie Jean recently participated in the Helsinki Fashion Week of 2020. And for this round, it was first of its kind, and it did a digital show due to how we are with the pandemic. How was the shift from traditional denim design to a digital one? And what kind of more innovations do you think and hope can help the industry get a step ahead in sustainability?
Well, yes, we did participate as world's first 3D all digital denim fashion show, which happened to be in end of August, sorry, 1st of August. And it happened to be a great success because we could actually see the real looking garments which were never made because of the pandemic. We couldn't really travel to the units, you know, tailors were not coming. And so there were a lot of mess because, you know, the pandemic didn't allow us to make any physical garments. But we sat with some great, Clo 3D is the software. And we sat with some great 3D designers who worked on Clo 3D software to make all these garments look absolutely real. I mean, on my Instagram page, there are some garments which people have come back asking me, you know, how much is it for? Can we buy? And that's not even real. It's a digital garment which is there. We are still making the garments which are physically going to be available soon. So digital garmenting was very, very different. And it has opened a lot of opportunities for the brand in the sense, you know, it takes sustainability at another level. By creating things on the software, we can actually, you know, I also consult for a lot of brands. We can actually, what we can do in the design process is we can make the garments on Clo 3D software, and we don't have to make the real samples, whether it is for the color, whether it is for the fit or for the look and feel of the garment, because on the software, you can actually make the garments look as real as it can get. So, you know, cutting down the sampling costs, cutting down the prototypes, cutting down the courier charges, cutting down on a lot of meetings, you can actually in real time see the garment that the customer is wanting. So digital innovation in that way is pretty good when it comes to sustainability. I also feel that technological innovations play a very important role in the sustainability bit. Like, for example, blockchain. Blockchain is a beautiful technology which is, you know, bringing transparency to the table, which is making the customers more aware. So small examples of another technology is probably, you know, how about, as I always said, and as my friends also here said, educating the customer in a way they can understand. Like, how about, it's a weird example, but how about having a virtual reality show where you could take the customers in a digital format with a VR, you know, to show them the kind of water that is getting used in the jeans, in a regular jeans. How about having a VR show where you can show them that, you know, if what happens when you cross a pile of landfill, you know, things like that. So there are like hundreds of options, hundreds of innovations that can be done if technology is considered seriously, like in terms of sustainability.
Yeah, and I think we're at a point now, due to the pandemic, that the industry is being somewhat forced to embrace the technology that's out there and get used to how it and what it can achieve. That the things that are coming out that are disrupting the space are very interesting. Janelle, do you have any comment to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think both of those things 3D digital sampling and blockchain are going to be super influential. And I'm really interested to see how that will help the education side with the consumer. There's a platform called Compare Ethics that I think is really super interesting, because the customer can take like a checklist of the things that are important to them from an ethical point of view, and that will then be they'll see if the brand that they've chosen or the product they've chosen meets that criteria. So I think all of this stuff is demystifying and simplifying the choices that we make as people. But I'm also super excited about automation and robotics and how that's going to help us to reduce waste. On demand, you know, being able to make something on demand and customized to a person's body shape will not only help them to have, for it to be more successful and fit, but also that people will have more emotional connection to the products that they're buying because they've participated in the making of it. And I think that's really exciting. Unspun is a denim brand that is that's just released their jeans, which you use a mobile scanning app on your mobile phone to scan your body, and then they make a jean that's perfectly constructed for your body size. And I think that's just amazing. I mean, it's got a little bit of a journey to go on in terms of the product development, but yeah, this I think is really exciting.
That's really cool. And actually, after this, I'm now going to go to Unspun and scan.
Oh, really?
Because I want to know I want to feel that experience. I actually am somebody that loves being a part of made to measure clothing, yeah. And you are right about that emotional journey that you then have with the piece, and you wear it over and you're kind of proud of it. Yeah. And you know, and it's so interesting. So thank you for that. Now, all as we come to wrap up this discussion, I would love to hear from you what resources, social media accounts, even peers are inspiring you at the moment that the audience could leave from this discussion and go and explore so they can learn about circularity in denim. Claire?
I would say resources good for, we're partnered with the Jeans Redesign, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. They inspire designers to rethink, redesign, and build a positive future from the framework to make a circular economy. So they are great, and you know, we're learning a lot from them and working together with them. I think going back to Neha's point just about water, I think they mentioned this week that the fashion industry uses something like 93 billion meters of water a year in the dyeing process. And that's not circular and that's not sustainable. So, you know, that's definitely an area we need to work on. I also like going on the Good On You app when I'm shopping to see about their transparency and brands. And with regards to peers, I guess, you know, I'm on WhatsApp groups with Amy and Janelle, and you know, the amazing people around me doing very similar roles, and most probably my best inspiration. And you know, just being like around those people, I think definitely is, you know, learn from the people around you, collaborate, and I think that's my resource.
Thank you. Amy?
I think part of circularity, you know, is about transparency, and I think there's so many great brands being really transparent now. I think, you know, I definitely go onto their websites, onto their Instagram pages. There is so much information just on the websites, and more people are releasing their sustainability reports. I mean, a couple of my favorites are Mud and Boyish. Levi's have got a really good sustainability report you can access. Kings of Indigo, Outland have just done theirs. Their Instagram feeds have loads of information. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation, we're also part of the Jeans Redesign, but their website has so much information, like packs you can download, which are so incredibly detailed. They also have an incredible podcast, which is really, it's fashion, you know, it's like circularity across all of the industries, but I get so much information, and also you know, just I get excited just listening to those. Claire Press is another podcast that I listen to a lot. She does great podcasts. I think, you know, there's people like the Sourcing Journal, Rivet, Business of Fashion, Carved in Blue. They all have great resources for you to tap into. And some of them are subscription, but quite often you can access a couple of articles a month. And I think there's student deals. And then it's just Instagram accounts as well. So much information that you can find, even from, you know, people who speak in this field, like Aja Baba, and there's, you know, Fashion Roundtable. I mean, there's like so many that once you find one, you'll keep on finding the others.
I think you go down the rabbit hole of sustainability, right? And then they refer and you keep going and you don't get out, which is a good thing. You just keep learning. Neha?
I think my friends here named a lot of resources, which I wanted to name too. So Ellen MacArthur, Carved in Blue, Boyish Jeans. To add to this list, I think ELV Denim is one of my favorite brands when it comes to design, how they took design in their stride and made the garments sustainable. So ELV Denim, and there is a brand, one of my favorites again, it's called Cora Jeans. It's an Indian brand. I think their handle is also Cora Jeans. And they make made-to-measure, zero-water raw jeans from natural indigo selvage. It's a beautiful brand. Then there's another brand called Denim. So this is a brand that is making denim felt out of fibers, something which we are also researching on. So it's a France-based brand. Then Simply Suzette, as we all know, that's a great resource for, you know, getting all your sustainability info from. And of course, my friend here, Janelle, so her work as well. So I think all of you inspire a lot, and it's just great to follow all these accounts to know and absorb more.
Excellent. Janelle, anything to add as we wrap up? Is there anything left?
Scanning my list to see if there's any that I've got. Another podcast, actually. So Claire Press was mentioned. She's got a new podcast now with Simone Cipriani from the UN, and that's really good. And I listened to a podcast about waste. If anyone's really interested in waste and landfill and where things go to, there's one called Waste 360, which is super interesting. Common Objective, I don't think has been mentioned, and that's a platform that just has tons of resources and information and articles, and really practical if you want to learn about product. If you really want to go down the denim route, then the Blue Lens YouTube channel has got loads of videos and webinars and things where you can really dig deep into denim. And on Instagram, I follow everyone that's been mentioned already. And then maybe a favorite of mine, Dio Kurosawa of the Bear Scouts as well. And again, on waste, if you're interested in where things go to, the OR is present, the OR Foundation. That study where waste gets exported to and what happens to things that we send away. So yeah, just a few extras to add there.
Brilliant. That is so many resources. It's very inspiring. It's been incredible to have your time. And thank you so much to all of you as we've explored circularity in denim.
Wasn't that amazing? You know, I watched that about a week ago when it came through, and what intelligent people that we've got in our community, and these are all friends of mine, you know, and we were going to pitch that all of them were going to talk separately, but obviously it would have ended up being a 4-day event, and we said, actually, let's cut it back. But we still included them, and we managed to convince them all to talk on one panel, and it was epic. And, you know, I pay homage to Claire, I'm wearing the same t-shirt she is, a Story MFG, like sort of like all that t-shirt. Andrew, you can like join us, and then we can introduce the next panel as well, the next the amazing next speaker, who's pretty awesome.